War Eagle, and welcome to another edition of Ever to Podcasts, our somewhat regular get-together with you in audio format here at E2C Network, where we share the Auburn experience, which is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing today, episode 38. Yes, 38, doing the math correctly in my head. For Ever to Podcast, where we catch you up on the latest Auburn news, scuttlebutt, discussions on social media, out in public. Obviously, that's what our goal here for you is today on episode 38. Today's date is July 16th, 2025. I'm Kyle Loomis, as always, your host. Today, we're going to talk about, obviously, a lot of SEC Media Days, update you on the finality of Auburn and the MLB Draft and who got opportunities there, and some other news that we might have time to get into. But of course, you know, today is going to be mainly about SEC Media Days. To be honest, that's why we missed yesterday's Tuesday episode, because I was just jam-packed busy with opportunities. Very thankful for those, to speak with several other content creators and media groups out there about Auburn's SEC Media Days. You can catch me on the Voice of College Football. Several other places out there. Herb and Raj podcasts are some great Alabama folks. I know that seems oxymoronic to say that, but they are. That was at the end of the night. Had a great night closing out the day with them. But anyway, we also did our own show on YouTube. If you would like to hear some initial reactions and stuff, kind of right off the cuff. And now I've had some time to digest on some things today. While this won't be a comprehensive, my voice cracks, that was embarrassing, overview of everything for SEC Media Days. These are some of the things that I want to discuss. Obviously, you know, Auburn was represented by, of course, Coach Hugh Freeze. We also had Keldrick Falk, Jackson Arnold, Connor Lee. It was great to hear from each of those. Not that it's never been a good time listening to anybody else that's attended, but I really valued all of their perspectives, and I had different takeaways from each of them. I thought Connor Lew just really looks the part of not just a SEC offensive lineman, but he carries himself. He speaks now with that, I think, confidence that we've always seen out there on the field, but it was nice to get to see him in that role. It was also nice to see and get to know Jackson Arnold a little bit more. Just several interviews, hearing him talk, kind of get a feel for his personality, who he's liking out there on the team, how excited he seems to be here for a brand new chance. And then, of course, Keldrick Falk back for a second time just speaks to how important he is to this team on the field and off the field. Big fan of the Falk family, and especially Keldrick Falk, so it was great to see them there. And, of course, I'm sure most of you now have seen clips. As always, I would highly, highly recommend you listen to press conferences, interviews in full, not just react to snippets and things that people like me, content creators, are putting out there for you. Certainly watch those, but go get the full context of comments before you react to things. I thought Coach Hugh Freeze did an outstanding job at his press conference, the main one yesterday that he did that was broadcast on television, explaining a lot of things, answering questions, addressing certain narratives out there, which I think are ridiculous. They even has to address them, but certain other people think it's important for you to know that and stir you up about things. I'm talking about golf. Yes, we're talking about golf, folks. This is football. So anyway, it was a great day, I think, of well-rounded interviews, opportunities to get to know them and get excited as the unofficial kickoff for college football, but for Auburn football as well. A couple things that I want to bring to your attention. Assessment was the big word that I walked away with yesterday from everybody, not just Coach Hugh Freeze, but an assessment of self. That means the coach assessing himself, the coaches assessing themselves, the players as well. They all recognize this is a year where we got to put the on-the-field stuff out there now. This is not going to be a year where you can just get by on your laurels. And certainly that takes a lot of inward assessment, and I really took that away. There was talk about these psychology or personality tests that even the transfer portals people were taking. And Coach talked about a lot. He needed to do that for himself to figure out how he can best serve his players. So I really like that self-awareness about him. Expectations. Some of you were sold a bill of lies about so expectations were lowered only for a bowl game. Once again, you need to go look at the full things in context and not overreact to them. He clarified that again. The expectation is for Auburn to be in the playoff conversation. Also, once again, you need to not read too much into that. You need to make sure that you understand when he's in the conversation. He's not saying that you are going to be in the playoffs. He is saying that you should be have an opportunity to be in that conversation, to be within earshot. If not make it, you can, but we have to recognize context and where we're at as a program right now. And I also loved all the different players that got shout-outs from the coach, from the other players that were there, the main three representatives. Horatio Fields got a big shout out from Jackson Arnold a few times, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on him in terms of everybody gets excited about Eric Singleton, Cam Coleman, even Malcolm Simmons, and we've got some other guys behind them that are very much dark horses for getting some attention from their quarterback, and Jackson Arnold pointed out as much in that one. In terms of Kieran Crawford, got shout outs from Keldrick Falk about how big he's going to be there replacing Jalen McLeod. And several others. There's a lot of talk about the new young players and how much they have contributed so early, the ones that have already been here for a year, but the ones that are arriving even now to get started playing this year. So it was great to hear those perspectives from SEC Media Days and everything that came out of it. I'm not touching on everything here. There's a lot from that. Again, I'd recommend you watch our broadcast after SEC Media Days had wrapped up for Auburn, where we kind of broke down some of the commentary. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, this just popped in my head. Some of y'all have been trying to prep you for this on various things that we do. It is a possibility that Auburn and Georgia may not play an annual game every single year. You need to start reconciling with that, because right now it doesn't look like that's going to happen. There's no formal announcement, but there were some conversations yesterday that even Keldrick Falk was surprised by. So you might want to go ahead and start wrestling with that if you haven't. Let's switch our gears real quickly to finalizing the MLB Draft for Auburn baseball. We started off this week with Ever to Podcast talking about Ike Irish becoming part of that first round club and how great that was for him being with the Baltimore Orioles. We didn't get an opportunity yesterday to round out the rest of the story because of SEC Media Days and me not doing an episode. So let's give you the roundup of everybody else that got drafted and signed. So we're looking at the MLB Draft here. In order, Eric Snow to the Blue Jays, Dylan Watts to the Blue Jays, Cam Tilley to the New York Mets, Sam Dutton to the just the Athletics, because they technically don't have a true home right now. Hayden Murphy to the Diamondbacks, Cade Fisher to the Red Sox, and then after that was the draft. We've got the signings. Carson Myers went to the Blue Jays, and Derek Fabian went to the Rockies, and that's just as of this moment that I'm aware of. There could be more out there happening even as we speak. Now, a couple of things to point out there. The Blue Jays love them some Auburn Tigers. They picked up Eric Snow, Dylan Watts in the draft, and then picked up Carson Myers in a signing after the draft. So 2 pitchers for them, 1 infielder. I think a lot of people were expecting Cam Tilley to be the second person off the board. He ends up being the 4th person off the board for Auburn. But instead, Dylan Watts also goes to the Blue Jays. So we've seen them pick up Auburn guys before with Josh Donaldson. They know what they get from the Auburn program. So I'm sure, as we've seen the trend happen for some professional teams, they kind of lean that way because they know the Auburn Tigers bring them quality. And then so many other things happened here. Obviously, lots of pitchers were taken after Ike Irish and Eric Snow. In fact, they all, except for Derek Fabian at the end, were pitchers. So just 3 positional players outside of pitchers were taken in the MLB Draft. Wanted just to update you on that. Some quick hitting news here. Important notes. We'll keep it baseball for a second. Last night was the MLB All-Star Game. Casey Mize, yes, Casey Mize, the number 1 overall pick, finally is starting to get some of the recognition he deserves and having to battle through injuries and all that. First MLB All-Star Game appearance for him last night, at least being part of the roster. And that was a great thing to see. I think confirmation for him, for Auburn fans, that, you know, we're getting on the other side of this thing for him to have a great MLB career. The fact that he got to be a chance of the All-Star Game. Great to see an Auburn person represented there as well. And one last final note from SEC Media Days-ish news. It happened around Media Days, not necessarily at it. I believe it was announced yesterday that Tuesday, July 29th, Auburn fall practice will begin. So mark your calendars, folks. Just under 2 weeks from now, we will begin fall practice. Keep that in your pocket. Enjoy these last 2 weeks, because once we get there, the school year will be started. The summer's basically over, folks. I hope you realize that. So practice, I know you're all excited to talk about that. I'm sure we'll be discussing that in droves as time gets there, and spending some more time getting to know this 2025 Auburn football roster. That's going to do it for episode 38 of Ever to Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. As always, we want to remind you to hit us up on social media. Any direct message should be available to you if you'd like to connect with us, talk to us, suggest a topic. Same thing, email e2cnetwork@gmail.com. And be sure to check out our latest main podcast episode of the Auburn Experience. That is episode 133 is out right now. Got lots of good stuff that we discussed there on that particular show. With that being said, also make sure you join us tonight if you're listening to this today. Auburn Family Night, Wednesday night. I'm getting back into the habit of things, folks. It's been a week. Not episode, but the next edition of the Auburn Family Night Show will be Wednesday night at 9 Eastern Time every Wednesday night outside of scheduled conflicts. Thanks for being here. Spend some time with us and letting us share the Auburn experience with you. So we talk to you again. War Eagle.